There's all sorts of things, you know. I mean, you can say for politics thing, you could change it to Brashtachar, pe Brashtachar, and then right, and it still works really well. I saw, I think, Amitabh Bachchan's Hum, and I saw Dil, and I saw, I think I saw 1942 Love Story. I don't know what the rates are now, but I know that after that movie, there was a lot of discussion about, you know, suicides in it due to education stress. So,
Yeah, there was a lot of awareness regarding that.
Irfan Khan, when I worked with him on Blackmail, that was a completely different experience because he, the way that he approached the character, was very unique. He didn't really learn his lines, and it felt very much as if um, he was acting impulsively, and it made the acting much more realistic, and it was unique, and you don't really see that in Bollywood.
Hi.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing well.
So, what's happening in life?
Everything, life is unpredictable, and
Yeah.
uh, when you when you think when you think you figured it out, surprises you. I have two wonderful children. I have I live in Los Angeles. I have a house here. I work front and behind the camera, and I develop films
Yeah.
and TV shows, and yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of hobbies, slowly, and I have my family. All my family's here, my close family. So that's sort of what I'm doing.
Okay, nice. So, people generally know you from your iconic role of Chatur from 3 Idiots.
Right,
Yeah. I was a child when I saw you.
right, yeah.
Yeah. So, let's begin. So, can you share with us how you got attracted towards Indian cinema and how you became a part of 3 Idiots?
So I didn't really watch any Indian cinema growing up. I grew up in a small town with only with 40,000 people and only two families that were Indian. So there were no Indian people. I didn't speak Hindi. I spoke Marathi at home. But we would drive to sort of 2 hours to sort of other Indian communities that had more Marathi people, and we sort of shared our community and ate Marathi food and spoke in the language. So I understood that culture a little bit. And then when I would go to India, I would sometimes see some Marathi or some Hindi movies because back then there weren't any DVDs, VHS, really very limited ability to see Indian cinema. So I saw, I think, Amitabh Bachchan's Hum, and I saw Dil, and I saw, I think I saw 1942 Love Story. So I saw a couple movies like that growing up in the theater or on the plane. In college, I saw some of Satyajit Ray's movies, which I really liked, and I was introduced to some Marathi films. Um, but I really didn't have any appreciation for Bollywood movies. They didn't really uh, they didn't really have much i- interaction with my life intersection. So only when I started acting in television in Hollywood and I started working on television shows, then one opportunity came, and they wanted to audition people for this movie, and they auditioned a lot of big Indian actors at the time in America. But I was just I was just visiting for a wedding, and I thought it would be fun to audition. I knew I would never get it because I don't speak the language. But I knew that I would have fun in the audition room, and I would see a different. I always like auditioning for different different film industries, maybe Australia or Middle
Yeah.
East or China or something, so that because the style of the acting, the style of auditioning, the casting directors, it's all different. And yeah, I went in there with full confidence because I didn't think I would get it. And that confidence, that action ability mixed with some, lack of knowledge of the Indian was something that was very different. That masala that I could bring, they pretty like that. And that's sort of how I got the role.
Okay. So you don't know Hindi that much, right?
I don't speak it well. No, I speak Marathi pretty well now. But Hindi, we didn't speak it growing up, and I grew up in America, so I can understand it now, but I don't speak it that well. Like I still make lots of mistakes, and my vocabulary is pretty limited.
Okay. So this accent of yours, which you are speaking with me right now, I thought you did it for that movie, but now I'm feeling that you have that accent only. Like,
So in America, this isn't an accent. This is actually just how I speak. This is how
yeah.
everyone speaks. And if you came here, people would say, "Oh, you have an Indian accent." But so yeah, this is just people walk around here and they just think I'm an American because I grew up here. Um, but yeah, this is how. No, I definitely did something different for Three Idiots. I made it more South Indian and I put a twang on there, and made it over the top, but I definitely have whatever you're listening to now is my normal speaking voice.
So I guess recently you did some Marathi film, right?
Yes, I made a movie called Aicha Gawat Marathi Bol, which
Yeah.
is I wanted to make a film where I could write something and direct it, maybe, and really take control over the storytelling because I've done a lot of Bollywood films, but I'm just sort of an actor in that film, and I don't really get to practice my filmmaking and show the audience that I have other abilities other than just in front of the camera. So I made this one story, and I wanted to tell a story about an NRI character from America who really doesn't have very good values, and how he comes to India, and through that experience and a comedic experience, um, he sort of learns the value of being Indian, of traditions, of family, and so this movie released in January in theaters in Maharashtra, and now it's on Amazon Prime, and it has English subtitles, so everyone can watch it. People seem to enjoy it. It's a very family friendly film, and the comedy is, there's a lot of, in a similar way to Chatur, there's Marathi language errors as well.
Okay. So how do you prepare yourself for the role of Chatur Ramalingam?
Yeah, so this character didn't speak Hindi. So in that same way, I didn't want to prepare and learn Hindi. I didn't want to learn it because this character didn't know it. I also didn't want to like any of the other characters because they're my enemies. So I also didn't get very friendly with all the other actors. I tried to stay separately from them, and especially when I had a scene that was where I had to be really mean and angry. I also had to figure out what drives Chatur and how, because I don't really care too much about uh, you know commercial success, like, and money or whatever it is Chatur cares for. Those things as an artist to me are not that important. But I had to relate to that character, and I had to make his needs and wants mine. So I had to find something in my own life that I really care about as much as him, that I'm willing to do anything to get. And then
Mm.
every time he wanted something, or he had that urge, I had to think about my urge and my needs. So when you see him desperately wanting something, or when you see him feeling extreme pain, that's me feeling pain for the need and want that I have in my own life.
Got it. Okay. So, Three Idiots had a profound impact on Indian cinema, society, and education in India. How do you see your character, Chatur Ramalingam, contributed to this impact?
Well, I mean, I can only say because I didn't grow up in India, so I can only say what people have told me about this, the impact and how it felt. But I feel like there are a lot of people that try to act like Chatur or feel like they are Chatur. Maybe they don't think they are, but other people do. They'll do what they need to do. They'll cut other people down, and because the education system is by ranking, it means that you. It doesn't matter how good you are. It's all based on how good you are in terms of in relation to other people. So it becomes not a very, you know, an environment that is where everyone is trying to bring each other up. And it sort of it empowers people like Shakir so that they get ahead because they're able to do this type of thing. And also, you know, you don't have to be someone who can make critical thinking, come up with new ideas. You just have to memorize things. So all of these things were sort of explored, these ideas, these criticisms of education system through this character. And I think a lot of people were able to get affected and sort of woke up and realized that, you know what, this character is not a good character. The way he's learning is not good. Some people even told me that as soon as the movie came out, within a year in their engineering program, they started to have electives like that had nothing to do with engineering, like art and other things that were mandatory. So, even the curriculum in these classes, in these programs of engineering started to change when they realized that they can't be just focused on these things. Also, I think in terms of suicide, there was at least at least I don't know what the rates are now, but I know that after that movie, there was a lot of discussion about uh, you know, suicides in it due to education stress. So
Yeah, there was a lot of awareness regarding that. Like till now, if we talk about educational pressure, everyone comes up with a movie named Three Idiots. Like was a really big example of that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just a small part of that film. I mean, I may have made a big impact within the film, but whatever contribution I made was a lot of it had to do with the writing and all that. I just made sure that the performance was real, I guess realistic or at least effective. Let's say effective performance, and it really uh, it was people really felt something when they think of that character. So I'm just happy that I was able to do that and I was able to provide a service and I do believe that it made a difference in many people's lives. I don't know how to quantify that, but when I meet people in India, they are very happy to meet me. Some people have said they've changed their lives have been changed and such. So, anecdotally, I have heard that this movie has made a lot of difference.
Right. Okay. So tell us about your experiences in other movies such as Dil To Bacha Hai Ji and Blackmail.
Yeah, all these movies that I got to do were a great experience. Some of them did better than others, but they were all different characters, and I only try to do movies where I feel like I'm challenged, like I get to do something different. I'm not doing the same thing. Many people offer me similar roles, and I just say no. That's why you may have not seen me in many years or whatever doing new things because I won't do it unless I feel like if I feel like I might fail at it, actually, if I might fail at it, then it means that it's quite a challenge and I should try. But if it's something that's going to be easy, then there's not going to be fun for me and it's probably not going to be fun for the audience. So, so yeah, all these roles that I tried to do, I knew there was something different. These directors were compelled to cast me because I brought something unique And it was great working with these bigger, veteran actors. And Ajay Devgan, was very nice. He was my Hindi wasn't so good, so he was very patient with me. And it was a big budget film, so we got to do. Imran Hashmi was really kind. I find that these really big actors, at least to me, they were all very gracious and nice. And then Irfan Khan, when I worked with him on Blackmail, that was a completely different experience because he, the way that he approached the character was very unique. He didn't really learn his lines, and it felt very much as if um, he was acting impulsively,
Yeah,
and it made the acting much more realistic, and it was unique, and you don't really see that in Bollywood. The style that he does as much.
exactly, exactly.
So it was really nice to see that up front. That he's had that big cut.
Okay. So, stand up comedy is a different form of expression compared to acting. So, how was your experience as a stand up comedian influenced your approach to acting, if at all?
So stand-up comedy has to do with a couple of things. It has to do with storytelling. It has to do with um, timing, and it has to do with audience expectations and surprising the audience, breaking their expectation in a, and then breaking it in usually in a comedic way. So these three things are really, really important when you are doing stand-up comedy. I, and acting, if you can tell the story in a better way by using your body, it usually makes the storytelling better. So I would say that both of them are very complementary for each other, and they can really help. If you are a good storyteller and you use your body, then you could possibly translate that into acting as well. And then also timing, when to not say the joke and the punchline, and when you how you say those lines to
Yeah,
increase the comedy. That is something you learn in stand up very well, because the same joke said by two different people will not one of them will be much more funnier than the other. And
exactly.
yeah, so those are sort of the ways that stand up can have a beneficial effect on acting. However, many stand-ups are not very good actors, to be honest, because they're very good storytellers, but they're not really animated performers. And you have to be you have to be very comfortable with your body, and you also have to get into different emotions that you don't really get into when you're just telling a story. You have to show him show feelings rather than tell about feelings.
Yeah, exactly. So, being an American actor, you have also worked in American TV shows. How do you find the experience of working with the Indian entertainment industry compared to American one?
Yeah, so I haven't worked recently in India, and I'm sure that things have improved greatly in many different ways. But when I worked in India, um, other than a couple of productions like Three Idiots and a couple of things were a little bit more disorganized in terms of the script wasn't locked many times. Um,
Yeah,
there weren't rehearsals done beforehand, um, and things were just done in a much more relaxed fashion. While here in America, uh, everybody's getting paid by the hour, and you if you go over 8 hours, everybody gets paid more. If you get paid over 12 hours, everybody gets paid a ridiculous amount. So there is a very much a focus on efficiency here. You also have much smaller crews here. You cannot have 200 people on set. You have maybe 50, maybe 80 people at max. Sometimes some films are 20, 30 people. Um, so it's a lot of people doing multiple tasks, while in India, every job has its own person.
yeah,
Um, What else is there? There is, but there are many benefits, Vicky, in the way that there is much more of a communal feeling when you're on set. People drink chai. People say, "Come home to my house." There is, but there are many benefits, Vicky, in the way that there is much more of a communal feeling when you're on set. People drink chai. People say, "Come home to my house." While in America, it's more like working at a bank, I guess, or something. People, when they get to work, they go, they do their work, and then they leave, and their work and home life is very separate.
Okay. So in today's digital age, memes have become a significant part of pop culture. What are your thoughts on how memes have impacted the way people perceive and engage with movies, especially iconic ones like Three Idiots?
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because they didn't exist when we were. I mean,
Yeah.
they sort of started. I remember when Three Idiots came out. They made a. It wasn't a meme, but it was a billboard, Amul billboard, and it had the Three Idiots, and it had me like doing something in a suit, or whatever, and it was all those Amul characters, butter characters. So that was like a kind of like a meme, right? Because it's like referring to it, but um I don't know. It's a way of communicating, whether it's Three Idiots movies or whatever they're using. It's a way of communicating emotions to other people, as well as you know sort of nostalgia, especially with Three Idiots, showing this thing. There's so much more that you can say with a picture. So
Yeah.
or a short video, a 3-second video. So if you reply to a some sort of comment that somebody makes, or even online socially, it can have such a much more visceral impact than if you try to say that response in words. It could be satirical. It can be critical in some way. It could be you could have a political response to some politician by using a meme. There could be so many uses, and they're very effective because people are moving very fast now, and they can immediately get a little response and understand that very quickly without having to explain it. So
Yeah.
so it's nice. It's nice. I don't know what the effect is on Three Kids, but I know that Three Idiots and a lot of big clips from that movie have been able to be used by people all over the world to express themselves, which is
Yeah.
great.
Especially your that ending speech. What was that? Like I can't even say. It was really funny. That
Yeah.
speech in which Amit Khan changed the words.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of things. I mean, you can say for a politics thing, you could change it to Brashtachar pe Brashtachar. And then,
Uh-huh.
right? And it still works really well. So people can do all sorts of things by tweaking the text on top of the clip, and people really like it. It doesn't have to be straight words from the film. It could just be clips from the film and some other words, and it's still very effective.
Even now, when people want someone to, do something for them, and they say, "Tofu kabul karo." That
Right.
iconic one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the thing is, these sort of mistakes, they're so memorable,
Yeah.
and they're so much more interesting than saying it straight, and it becomes a sort of like I say in Marathi they say mhan, but I don't know what the word is in Hindi, but a a slang or a sort of like a phrase that doesn't mean exactly what you think it means. Um, and people use those, and they like to take them from movies because everybody else knows those, so they become part of the language, and that is pretty cool.
Okay. So, as someone who has experienced success from both in India and abroad. What are your thoughts on the future of entertainment, particularly with emerging technologies like virtual reality VR and artificial intelligence AI? How do you see VR and AI shaping the storytelling future of an audience engagement?
So, like, let's just take an example. We don't know. Number one, we don't know what's going to happen. So, but if we look at history, usually history is a good way of figuring out what the future is going. So there was radio, and there were all these radio stars, and then television was going to kill radio, and maybe it did, or somewhat. I mean, it definitely changed it, and then there became all these, or sorry, film stars, and then it was silent film, then it was talking films, then it was television. So basically, as the audience's sort of appetite and preferences changed, those artists who were better at that medium started to succeed. So uh, we will also see people, new artists, new people who are embracing sort of the technology, doing well. But there still is radio, there still is films, and there's still TV, and all of these mediums still exist, and there are still people that are highly successful in all of them. So I don't think all of these things will die off for any, but you have to remember that AI itself is just a tool, and humans will be using it like they use Photoshop or they use anything else that they use. Is just a tool. So without humans, this thing won't be able to do what it can do effectively, and it will have limitations no matter what, like anything. And only with human intervention and human, tweaking will it get better and better at what it is. And there will always be room for good, original thought, no matter what. No matter how many AI films or things come out, there will always be unique perspectives that a computer cannot aggregate together and use some sort of mathematical stuff to come out and compute real emotion. Those things really, especially new ideas, news stories. These things can't be done because they're only done by people living lives and them sort of thinking about them deeply. Um, I do think that the immersiveness is something very new. That format and that type of storytelling still hasn't been. I mean, it's been done. It's called video games. People play them all the time. They're extremely immersive, and in fact, they're extremely successful. But actors are used in them. Their voices are used, and writers write those video games. So there will always be room. There will always be interesting things, and as we continue to want to consume and you know want these things, there will be room. If as long as you're doing good work, and you're doing it honestly, I'm pretty sure there's going to be room somewhere for you in this world.
But people do think that maybe AI and VR will take over humans, or it is considered as danger.
I mean, you're talking about them being sentient. That means when they start thinking on their own, and like Terminator, if you've ever seen that movie, um, and then they're going to do something dangerous or something. But again, like, they're not going to be able to really communicate with us very well because they don't really understand subtleties. If I say I'm not hungry, but I look at that sandwich, you can tell I'm very hungry. Like a computer, that we're very far away from sarcasm and humor. These things change rapidly, and they're actually what I find funny, you don't find funny. So, like, how's a computer gonna write that? I really don't.
Okay. So, can you tell us about any memorable moments or challenges you faced while working in creative or any of your projects?
Um, So when I was, let's see, in Three Idiots, I had all these funny scenes or whatever. I took everything really seriously. Like I didn't do it comedic, trying to be funny. I just wanted to play that character, and that character is pretty tragic. So people, I didn't know this film would do that well. I knew it was going to be okay, and there were a lot of successful people, but and I didn't know about that speech. That speech was going to be iconic. But what happens on set is there are a lot of people that work on set, like the lightmen and the all these crew members that they never come and watch the movie, or they never come and watch the shooting because they've been on so many movies that they don't have any interest in they just set up their lights, they do all that, and then they leave, and then the director comes and they shoot. So they also never laugh, they never show any emotion because it's like garki murgi for them. All right. So they when I did the speech for a empty audience, it was just the camera and stuff. There were all of these crew members just sitting in the audience, scattered in the audience, putting their feet up and smiling. You know, they couldn't laugh because their sound being recorded, but they were smiling. And you know, after 1-2 days, usually people go, "Okay, I've seen this. You know, this is boring." If you've ever been to a film set, it's quite boring to see the same scene over and over and over. People didn't leave. We people didn't leave the whole hour and a half that we were shooting, just my close-ups. So I knew that there was something going on here, something different. I knew it was funny. I wasn't trying to think about the funny because my character doesn't find it very funny. Um, but I knew that that scene was something. So that was probably the first time I realized that that scene was a little different.
Okay. So any memorable scene in like any memorable part or maybe something you experienced with Amir sir and
Sure. Yeah. So you know, I was sort of a no-name an actor, right, on this big movie. So I wasn't thinking that I was going to be uh, hanging out with these people. I thought I would be kept separate, and these people, Amir, Madhavan, Sharman, mostly it was us three, and us four, and they the good hotels were like 1 hour away from IM Bangalore. So Amir suggested that we all stay in the faculty sort of residences that were empty. So we all had our own room, and it was almost like living in a like a dorm. I mean, we had our own bathroom, right? So it was nice. It was like a small apartment. It didn't have any kitchen or anything, like a hotel room, like that. You could think of it like that. So we had those rooms, and we were shooting, and every night Amir's assistant would come to my door and come to Sherman Madhav and say, "Hey, Amir wants to just come. Wants to hang out. You want to come and hang out?" So I was just kind of surprised because I'm not from there. I don't speak the language. I'm not Bollywood. I've never made a movie. So we would all just hang out. We talk about philosophy or current events, and then we'd play some board games. So one time we were in Ladakh, and we were playing. It was there was nothing to do there. It wasn't popular back then. It was like desolate, and we were in a village, and the village got 1 hour of electricity a day. But because we had so many electric generator trucks, they had 24 hours of electricity. So all these people didn't know when to fall asleep because they usually get electricity 1 hour before they fall asleep. So so they were all, you know, and we were basically staying in a, I don't even know if you can call it a hotel, but they were these small rooms in this the biggest house in the village, you know, and we were all eating Maggie because there's nothing to eat. It was 6 hours from lake on a treacherous road, and somebody had brought Scrabble. So that was when Karina was around and Saif had come to visit. So it was me and me and I think I was playing. Oh yeah, I was playing. I don't think Sharman was. Madhavan was playing. Amir was playing, and then Karina or maybe Saif was playing. I don't remember, but I do remember that you know, I do remember that I don't play these games very often, but I have a pretty good English vocabulary. So
Mm.
I put down a word which was gauntlet, which nobody knew what that word was,
Yeah.
and it was all of the letters. So I get like bonus if I use all my letters, and I just happened to do it. It's not like a strategy. And they questioned me and they challenged me and they pulled out the dictionary and it was a real word. And as soon as that was like one of the first plays. As soon as I went to like first place, then you could see on Amir's face, he became extremely competitive, and he did not want to lose. And he used every trick in the book. He would ask other people, like, "Is that a word?" He was trying to do whatever he needed to do. But then when you did the same thing, he'd be like, "Oh, you can't do that." So he was just working, trying to do, and by the end, he won by 1 point. So that tells you just how competitive, not in a bad way or anything, but he was very focused. And even while we were shooting on set, he would with these IM students, these brilliant students playing chess on set and beating them all. So he was extremely competitive and very focused with his mind, and it was really interesting to see. But what I do remember, how welcoming they all were, and that was one of the. But I'm one of the definitely, other than my own film, like working on that film was really fun. We had a great time, and we had a lot of
So, Three Idiots is still celebrated as a cult classic. How do you feel it continues to resonate the audiences even years after its release?
It's bizarre, to be honest. There are many more films now, so I was not expecting it to have such a long, just to be so impactful long term. There's a couple of things. First of all, it's really pleasurable film to watch, I believe. I think that there are so many different characters, and each of the characters, someone you can relate to. Uh,
Mhm.
so there are many things that are very enjoyable about it. It's also about a subject that everybody goes through. Every single person in India I think almost everybody. I mean, they go through it in school, or they go through this stress, this feeling, this feeling of wanting to, you know, impress, and also
Yeah.
make yourself worthy, and listen to your parents, all that. So it's extremely universal. Um, and I think some of the social sort of critiques that they're talking about still do exist, very much so. So even though the film is dated, some of the humor may not be as in like PC politically correct as it anymore. Um, Even though some of those things are true, uh, I do feel that overall that film still resonates very strongly with me.
Mhm. So, are there any specific lessons or insights you gained from working on the movie that you have stayed with you throughout your career?
Just the theme of it's something that we all need to remind ourselves is, and it's very difficult because we live in a world that uh really rewards people who create, that are performance based. So if you make a lot of money, you're rewarded. If you sell a lot of products, you're rewarded. If you get a lot of followers and likes, you're rewarded. But that doesn't mean that what you've made is of quality. It could just be popular. So the movie is really about telling people that you need to focus on being the best you can be, not what is perceived in society as best. And I think that is a reminder that all of us can take, even me, as we do things, as we do anything in life, we really should focus not on the outcome, but really on just doing the best we can in the moment.
So, what can you share about your upcoming projects or any roles that particularly you're excited about?
I still definitely enjoy. I mainly work in front of the camera here because I have a family now, and going to India, it, it's very difficult to spend many weeks, sometimes months, working on a film, sitting around a lot. Actor has to sit around a lot, um, and since my children are young, I really want to be here for them. And there's also a lot of work here for me as an actor. So I work a lot here in different types of formats. And then I've also, because I went to film school and have edited features, you know, there's a certain more sense of satisfaction that
Yeah.
I enjoy from creating stories and developing them and making them come to life. So now more and more, I'm spending more time um, developing projects. So I have a couple of films in development in India. We're in early pre-production and we're casting and whatnot. And if that's not really up to me, but if they work out, then they'll go on the floors and they'll start going into production and hopefully they'll come out. And then I'm working on some projects here as well behind the camera. But I do many commercials here. If you lived in America, you may have seen me on TV popping up randomly or on on YouTube ads and such. And then yeah, that's sort of what I do right now.
Any upcoming project you would like to share to the audience?
No, everything is pretty early based, and in this industry, everything, you know, so many things fall through. So I would just love for people to watch Aicha Gawat Marathi Bowl on Amazon Prime. It is on Amazon Prime right now, English subtitles. I think 1,200 people are watching it a day. They're
Oh,
on, so people are watching it nonstop, and they're really enjoying it. And it's that kind of comedy that people want from, or at least they've seen from me, which
yeah.
is, sort of being a someone you love to hate. You know.
Yeah. So, looking back on your career journey so far, what advice you would like to give to aspiring actors and entertainers who have just started their journey in this industry?
I would say that it is a very one of the most difficult uh industries and jobs to do because there is no straight line. There is no do this, do this, do this, and you'll be successful. There will be highs, maybe very highs, but also corresponding very lows. So, it's really not worth it unless you really just enjoy acting, almost acting or dancing or drawing for yourself. If you just like doing those things and you'll do them even if nobody's watching, you'll still do them. If you're like that type of person,
Yeah.
then you will probably succeed, or you will work in this industry. If you are sort of addicted, like an addict, can't get enough, no matter how painful it is, how treacherous it is, then I'd say continue onward. However, if you have doubts, if it is just a hobby, if it is just something you're looking for the outcome, I want to be famous, I want to be rich, I want to be this, or I want to be that, those things don't happen. So, or they happen so rarely that better to just play the lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, because yeah, that those people sort of quit early. And this game world is all about meeting people and connecting with them. Is a collaborative process. So you already know if you're in this industry, you're starting out, there if you know 20 or 30 of them people, you may not like them, or some of them you think they're not talented, but I'll tell you, talent is optional. Actually, it's who you know and how hard you're willing to work. So if you know 30 people, I would, even whether you like them or not, I would befriend all of them because one of them is going to succeed. And if
Yeah.
they succeed, maybe you can help them and, they'll bring you along. So it's really a game of numbers. Actually, the most successful people are really the people that the agents and the people that have multiple projects, because one project, many projects will fail, but one project will randomly do better than all of the other
Yeah.
combined. So, that's how it is. And we hear all these success stories and they're very motivating, but usually they're the outliers. For every Rajkumar Hirani, there are 100 or 1,000 Rajkumar Hiranis that are probably
Yeah.
equally as good, if not better, but they were not given the chance. They did not know the right person. They did
Yeah.
not fall on the right. They did not fall on the right, trip over the right stone to
Exactly.
fall into that opportunity. So all you can do is really work hard, keep working hard, maybe have some luck and enjoy the ride. If you are expecting it to go a certain way,
Yeah.
then you will be sorely disappointed.
Thank you so much. It was really great. I mean, it was a prestige for me to be in an interview with you.
Oh yeah, well, I'm glad that you feel great, and I
Yeah.
hope you. I don't know what your journey is, but I hope it's very rich, and you learn a lot, and
Thank
you
you.
find some enjoyment through it, and you